All right, I had issues with my mixer, but I don't know. I'm all back and mixed. Oh, my office is a wreck. I didn't clean, but I did get water, so I have plenty of water. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I guess I'm doing well. I don't know. I'm doing fine. I'm fine. Whatever. I'm fine. It started snowing. That's true. Can I switch over? I can show you some snow. Let's see. Front feeder. Yeah, the downside is I don't have my microphone on that feed. So anyway, yeah, it's snowing here. But the good news is I did that cable run before the snow, so I'm happy about that. Shane, no famous people got in touch with me. I did actually email the Greens again. I'll see if Hank wants to do it this year. John did it last year, so maybe Hank Green will do it. I don't know. I'm less confident in such a thing. He's just, I mean, just getting past cancer. I mean, that's a lot. So yeah. Oh, hold on. My wife just messaged me. Sorry, just started the stream. I can look when it's over. Oh, there. Get this out. I lost my mouse again. There we go. So yeah, I had issues this week with virtual machines. I had forgotten all about it. So this computer I'm on now is it's an M2 Mac, with the Apple silicon, and not silicone. That's something different. And supposedly it will run VirtualBox, and you can install ARM-based operating systems. But it crashed for me every time I tried. So I'm like, oh, that sucks. So now I'm thinking like, oh, I'll run something remote and then just like use Spice or something to connect to those for doing when I need to do a virtual machine for a lab like this, right? I mean, if I'm here, the idea is that I could have a virtual machine here. This is just two different terminals that I SSH'd into another server, but these are still, so this will work fine as long as I don't need a GUI, but it's not ideal. And so, yeah, I got to figure out exactly how I'm gonna get that other thing to, how I'm gonna get it to work long term. Because the other thing about Mac that I don't love is when you're doing PowerPoint presentations, it gets funky because you can't you can't do annotation as nicely. It's not as interactive. So, long story short, anyway, but I have actually been working on Linux Plus videos. So, yeah, I know that I've been saying that for weeks, but I mean, here, I'll show you. I actually do have look, see, it's the slide stuff. And the first thing we're going to go over is this stuff here. I wonder if I can do my, oh dear, what did I do? Yeah. Ooh. So the first thing we're going to look at is how to use variables, and then probably conditionals. That'll probably be the first part that we learn. And then, yeah. And what I'm going to do, I decided, is I'm going to introduce stuff, look at the slide, what we're going to cover, but then I'm going to actually take snippets out of my bash playlist / course, because I mean, not to toot my horn here, but I think I did a really decent job of covering scripting stuff in that. And so I'm just going to take some old Sean footage out of there and put in place rather than try to re-explain it and figure it's my footage, right? I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to take snippets out of there and refer to it and say, hey, past Sean is going to, demonstrate this now. Because when I did the bash course, I did like GitHub repositories of the sample scripts and stuff. It's a really great thing. So I'm going to point to that. But then as I introduce the sections in here, I will just copy some of the video sections from there. I think that'll get me, it'll be a good way to start and get things rolling pretty quickly. So anybody think that's a terrible idea? Let me know, but I think it'll work. Oh, snowing too. Can you smell carrots? Yeah, I don't know. So that's the thing too. I mean, underwater the fish don't stink, right? Do you think carrots can smell carrots, or is that the standard? At some point, if somebody smells really bad, they don't notice it anymore. So maybe they wouldn't smell carrots in the field. Oh, but I'm fine. Yeah, that was my thought too. Like, rather than just try and copy, like instead of trying to insert footage as if I were just teaching it, I will definitely, and especially because the hair won't quite match. It's funny. I was looking at one of the videos. I think the conditional video. I'm actually wearing the same shirt, but my hair isn't green at all. So yeah, I will say, make it really clear, that we're learning from past Sean, because yeah, I did a good job. And if I did it again, it wouldn't be as good because I didn't have, one of the setup and the planning and stuff. So, but it's not going to completely replace, it's not going to completely cover all the things that course covers. That course, it goes far more in depth than we need to for Linux Plus. So I'm just going to take bits and pieces and keep referring to it. And, with YouTube cards and then links in the description for the full bash course. So, and yes, Mason, exactly. It is section 3. I hope to record it'd be nice if I could get it actually recorded up, since I'm using snippets from the old videos. Hopefully I can get at least the first video done today. It'd probably go live in the morning. I think that'd be a good way to start a Monday morning with another Linux Plus after how many months of Sean not doing anything on his YouTube channel that people were requesting. So, you see the article about Germany going to open source again? Germany? Like Germany, the country? No, I did not hear that. That's interesting, though. Huh. What else is going on in the life of Sean? I don't know. I yeah, I'm still learning Google, so there's that. Um, it's a little bit odd to teach the importance of data integrity using Google as an example of how to be ethically um, wise with data. It's just. I mean, it's funny. It's like, hey, Google Cloud, now you need to be ethical with your use of data. It's just. I mean, it's just a little too on the nose. That said, I guess it's fair that if anybody knows the ramifications of not being careful with people's data, maybe it's Google. But it just feels weird. Lewis, the Bamboo Labs printer is pretty cool. I do really like the printer. I haven't printed much with it of late, and I have a bunch of. I mean, you can see I have a bunch of filament, and I have some stuff that I want to print. Like I've even got glow in the dark filament because my son-in-law wants a glow in the dark stand for one of his gaming machines, like his analog pocket. I just haven't had a chance to even put the filament in yet. But the last thing I printed is I can't remember. Something that I need, like something useful, which isn't. Hold on. I knocked it on the floor. One of the things. So this is a coaster for my Ember mug, and I actually got the little. Oh, I love that this camera does that. The little pogo pins, and so all I have to do now is I have to solder the connector, like the 15 volts, onto the back onto those pins, and then it should be an extra Ember mug charging coaster. I printed it out, but I haven't done anything else yet. So, let's see. Oh, hello, Crypto Vadcon. I don't know how to say the last name there, and I doubt Crypto's your first name, but maybe. Let's see. Do I think? I gotta pop this on the screen. It doesn't go away on us. Do I think CompTIA Linux is a good cert for the first cert for somebody? Yes, if learning the material makes sense. Like if it's a little bit over your head, then I would start with Linux Essentials. Even if you don't get the certification, Linux Essentials is a little less steep on the learning curve. But if the Linux Plus material is making sense to you, then yes, I think it's a good first cert to actually go through the process of taking the exam. And Linux Essentials is it's a good exam too, and it's less expensive, and it's a good way to verify, okay, I really did get it. But yeah, one of those two. And again, Linux Plus if you're comfortable with it, and Linux Essentials if it seems a little much. How did I pop that up? Oops, sorry. Google's, be careful with the data. Yeah, I know. Google with data, it's just let's see, what I recommend. Oh, I did change it so the comments don't disappear as quickly, so that's helpful. Would I recommend some additional learning material in addition to your video? I mean, yeah, always. I don't have a specific book or anything that I recommend. I thought about writing one day, but I mean, then life has happened, and I haven't even created videos really recently, so that sucks. But yeah, I don't have a book that I recommend, but if you're a book learner, there are quite a few of them. I mean, you can look, and I don't think I've seen any that are particularly bad. I probably bought one when I first trained Linux Plus, like when it first went over. I don't see one. Yeah, maybe I didn't. A lot of times I'd buy a book though, and then just not really use it all that much, but just to make sure I was covering the materials. So I don't have one, but in particular, but it doesn't hurt to have multiple ways to study. Wife just asked me to print more snowflakes. Is this a joke about my weather, or is this snowflakes about the printer? Because I guess that's a neat idea. I hadn't thought about printing snowflakes like for decorations. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I would just search. I mean, Thingiverse probably has a ton of them because that's a pretty good idea. Elpic is no, they just split off. Courtney, they so Elpic 1, 2, and then 3 is several different, but Elpic 1 and 2 still exist completely. The only difference is that CompTIA used to use the Linux Plus exams for their Linux Plus certifications, and then a few years ago they decided that they were going to make their own exam for Linux Plus. And so Linux Plus is no longer LPIC 1, but LPIC 1 still exists. As far as I know, unless it's very new information, but I mean, no, as far as I know, LPIC 1, LPIC 2, and then the various LPIC 3s still exist. 3D printer snowflakes. Okay, cool, Lewis. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look though, because yeah, that's kind of a good idea. Oh yeah, going through John McGovern's course. Yeah. What would you say? Which topics we should go really in depth with? I mean, I know John. Obviously, we work together now because I'm back at CBT Nuggets. But he just did Linux Plus, didn't he? Yeah, he just finished the Linux Plus course. I don't. So when I did the course, and now that I'm doing, and I'm allowed to finish the course here in YouTube, I basically just look at the objectives and make sure that I covered them all. Some of them, I guess, cover the things that are more confusing, like if you don't understand the shell scripting thing, kind of like dive deeper into there. But pretty much what I found is whatever is in the objectives is where they pull the questions from. So there's not a whole lot of extrapolation required. I mean, if it's in the test, it's pretty much going to be mentioned in the objectives fairly clearly. I mean, the scenarios are going to be slightly different for the questions, but they're really good about including all the things that they want you to study in the objectives. I don't know if that helps or not. Yeah, that could be fun. I'll have to use my 3D printer this year for the scavenger hunt. That's a great idea, to come up with some cool things. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it much. Last year I used a lot of QR codes. You know what I could use this year is in a similar vein. Oh, they're over on the other side of the room. But I have a bunch of RFID, NFC, I guess. It's hard not to say they're wrong. It's not hard not to say NFT because that's been such the topic. But NFC tags or RFID technology, where I can create some of those with URLs, and I could just have them hold their phone near an object and give them a clue that way, along with it's kind of like a less camera-y version of a QR code, but yeah, it's fun. Let's see what do we have here. LPIC 2 and LPIC 3 are very advanced. Even more advanced? I mean, it depends on what you mean. I mean, when it comes to Linux, I don't know that there's any exams that are more advanced than like LPIC 3. Again, LPIC 3 isn't one specific thing. There's like several LPIC 3 certifications that you can get. I don't think that there's any courses necessarily that are more in depth than that. Like the Red Hat stuff is going to be probably that intense specific to Red Hat, but yeah, I don't know. It gets pretty, and at that point, it's like you're already a professional, and getting more certifications, it's tough to actually make a certification that makes sense past those levels, because everything's going to be so specific to the situation that it's going to be a lot of application of the previous principles, if that makes sense. So I don't know of any that are more any more advanced than that. They still have my course on CBT. Yeah, they do. I think that it's finally been like archived, like still available. You have to search for it, like my Linux Plus course, since John finished his not too long ago. It's been, his is the active one now, but I think you can still find mine. And there's probably some of my other courses that are still available. Yeah, I don't know. And so it's funny. I don't think it's a secret, but CBT Nuggets is like switching platforms, like learning platforms. And they have the old system, like their studio, where like trainers would upload videos for courses and stuff. And I don't even have access to that. Or if I do, I don't know how to get access to that, because when I was rehired, I'm using the new system that trainers are changing over to as they finish up courses on the old one. And so I'm on the new system, which means that I don't even really have again, I probably have access. I just don't know how to get to it because I don't need to now. to see what old stuff is. So it's funny that I don't even necessarily know how to look at the old stuff and see what's still live there. So, yeah. A few Linux server courses on Linux YouTube this week and came across a free. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there was. So yeah, if you go to Free Code Camp, there's a 5-hour video of me teaching Linux server stuff. I don't remember what the course was. I think we even just called it like Linux server something. And it was cool. But at the time, again, they don't have to tell me anything, right? CBT Nuggets owns all that intellectual property. I made it for them. They paid me. But what it looked like at the time is that Free Code Camp like stole the entire course and just published it on YouTube. And there was like a bit of a scandal. I like contacted the company. I'm like, hey, I mean, this is like a legit place. And they just have uploaded like my entire course. And then of course the legal department got back and said, no, we sold them the rights to that. But yeah, it's weird. It was weird to see my stuff on somebody else's YouTube channel just there. So anyway, it was nice. Some of my friends commented and said, hey, if you like this guy, his other stuff is on his YouTube channel. So let's see. Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's funny. When NFTs were all the rage, I actually thought about making YouTube videos about how to create NFTs, and I was going to use my cartoon characters as examples, and I was going to make some NFTs of my cartoon characters, not because I thought like selling them was, oh, I'm going to make money this way, just, because it was a technology thing. I'm kind of glad I didn't, just because, I'll just leave it there. I'm kind of glad I didn't. Linux server core system configuration and operation. Yeah, it was, I think it was just a generic Linux server course that I called it. It wasn't specific to anything. There were no real objectives, or if there were, I don't know what I used. I wonder if it was, no, I really don't know what I built there. Oh, that's awesome. Welcome from the free code camp. Yeah, it was just a little bit weird to see my video on a different YouTube channel. No, I think the bottom fell out. I think the whole concept is kind of like flopped, but they still exist, I guess. I don't know. I mean, at the beginning, before Dude Bros took over, I liked the concept of cryptocurrency. I specifically liked the ones that weren't based on proof of work, because those use so much electricity. I liked the more environmentally friendly ones, but I did pretty well, at the beginning. I mean, yeah, I sold all my Bitcoin at like $2 each. So, I mean, I lost what would have been tens of millions of dollars of Bitcoin, and I sold it for a couple $1,000. But still, it was fun. I enjoyed the technology, but then it just got, I don't know, it got frustrating and dumb and scammy, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Oh, that's what it's called now. Okay. Yeah. And I just don't remember what course those videos were originally for. And they're all just like back-to-back pasted together. I mean, I never made a 5-hour long single video. You see, like at the beginning, you can see of every section, there's like a, the slide where it comes in and shows the name of it. But I don't know if it had a course, just like a CBT course on there or not. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, it was just interesting. No. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it was not stolen. Free Code Camp absolutely did not steal it at all. They were completely legitimate. They did everything right. CBT Nuggets sold them the rights and they paid for it. I have absolutely no problem at all with Free Code Camp. They were great. I just didn't know about it. And seeing my stuff on there without knowing that had happened, I thought at the time, I'm like, okay, this isn't okay. You can't just like put somebody else's videos, but it turns out they had every right to it. So no, absolutely no issues with Free Code Camp. Glad they had success with my video too. It had my videos. It looks like it had a lot of plays and stuff too. So no, they did nothing wrong. Sorry if I was unclear there. It was weird for me, but not in a bad way. I just didn't know that it was happening. So anyway, just to clarify, nothing wrong with Free Code Camp. They're awesome. Let's see, what do we have? So for someone mentioning Linux space, would you recommend the LPIC route versus CompTIA Linux Plus? Honestly, I think it's about a half a dozen one and 6 of the other. When it comes to pricing, LPIC 1 is 2 exams, but each one costs about half as much as the Linux Plus single exam. As far as content goes, I don't know. There might be a little more content in LPIC 1 than there is in Linux Plus, but not a whole lot. The level is about the same. Now, yes, if you plan on going further, there's no Linux Plus Plus on CompTIA. So if you want to keep getting more certifications, you need to get LPIC 1 before you can take LPIC 2. I assume it's a prerequisite. But as far as like which one is more valuable for the content itself, I don't think that there's necessarily one is better than the other. I think they're both pretty good. Sometimes, depending on the company that you're in, the CompTIA name might hold some weight. The company might recognize that as, training, whereas they might not know who the Linux Professional Institute is if they're not a Linux-centric company. But as far as the content itself, I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. All right, Lewis, I'll see you later. One-shot RPG game. Cool. All right, well, have fun. I've still never played any sit-down like role-playing game stuff myself. My daughter has played several campaigns, but I haven't. Do you think you can combine programming and Linux skills in a job? So here's the deal. I don't think you can avoid it anymore at this point, particularly when you add cloud stuff into it, because a lot of the system administration is now done programmatically, with DevOps tools or with cloud APIs and that sort of a thing. But knowing what's happening behind the scenes, it's always been one of my favorite sayings, you should never automate what you couldn't do manually. And so understanding the Linux stuff underneath is really important. And then you end up doing things using programming skills to programmatically do maintenance and updates and rollouts and scaling, and all of those things are developer based concepts, but the thing you're automating underneath is general IT skills that I think are important to know. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are just developer heavy, and they don't, they know how to get the results they want using API calls and stuff to the cloud environment, and I guess that's fine. I just like knowing conceptually what's happening behind the automations, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't think you could avoid it. If you learned C at school and you're comfortable with it, I don't know that C is going to be one that is going to be specifically really useful for system administration and DevOps and programmatic stuff. But if you learn programming skills, it's pretty easy to pick up another language. It's just a matter of syntax. The concepts and everything are very, very similar. So, if you pick up another programming language, that's going to be a little, of course, I don't know, maybe C is fine. I don't know. I'm not a developer by trade. So, but yeah, you definitely can take advantage of both and kind of need to. So, Mason went down. I'll pick Essentials. Okay, cool. Now studying for Linux Plus. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Again, I think the Linux Plus is a great exam. I did like it, and I like that it's just one single exam. I like that it's CompTIA. They have name recognition, but they have a much narrower scope of Linux stuff they cover. And so, yeah, it's funny. Linux Essentials is an LPI course. It's it's the Linux Professional Institute, the people that do LPIC did Linux Essentials. And so, like, when I say, oh, if Linux Plus is not, if it doesn't quite click for you, go try Linux Essentials, which is a whole different platform. Again, that's LPI. So yeah, LPI is really great when it comes to Linux, and it makes sense because that's what they do. So yeah, I wish there was a good one solid answer, but yeah, again, what I don't know is if you have to have LPIC 1 in order to get LPIC 2 certified. I'm assuming so. And you might as well, it's just, more money for the exams. If you study for Linux Plus, there's not a whole lot of additional stuff that you would have to study for to get LPIC 1 certified. Obviously, you need to go through the objectives to make sure that they're all covered in your brain. But yeah, you could probably get LPIC 1 and Linux Plus, even though they're not the same exam anymore. You could get them both without a whole lot of extra studying, So that's my thought. Yeah, that's the thing too. And sometimes those certifications will get you past the like automated checks for job stuff, but also just knowing what you're doing is so vital. I say that though, and the job market is so weird these days that I don't have a solid take on what does get a person to that interview stage. Like once you get to that personal interview stage where you're actually talking to a human being, I feel like at that point it's more than your credentials and letters after your name. Right there, it's what can you do, what can you understand, what problems can you solve, how are you at communicating. But yeah, getting to the point where you're at that level is challenging these days, I think, if there's even jobs out there. Can one get hired solely on Linux Essential? I don't know that either. It depends on the job you're looking for. Probably if you have no other skills, it'd be rough. But I mean, if you're entry level something, maybe. It really depends on what kind of jobs are available, and will Linux Essentials make you a better match for those jobs. I think trying to get the certification and then finding jobs to match that, or it's going to be a tougher way to go, in my opinion. I mean, see what's out there and then go from there. I don't know that alone the Linux Essentials certification will make you valuable without other skills, other troubleshooting skills, other general IT knowledge, that sort of a thing. It's a good way so that you can include Linux into conversations and solutions, but by itself, it's pretty thin. I think so. Anyway. Yeah, do what you love, learn everything, and most importantly, drink tea. That's right. And my teacup is even my Linux Tux Penguin mug today. And it's I created another mix of tea, trying to get it perfect, and I think I like this one. If you want to see, I've been putting my mixes out on Adagio here. Let me pop it up there. Let's see, compact. No, here we go. Did that show up? My tea blend. So yeah, this is what I'm currently drinking. This is not like an affiliate link or anything. This is just a link to you can make these blends on Adagio, and other people can order your blends. So yeah, if you wanna drink what I'm drinking, that's what I'm drinking today. Is Winter Bliss version 2, and yeah, from the LPIC. Oh, here we go. Samples and tested. You do need LPIC 1 before LPIC 2. Okay, so yeah. But you can do LPIC 2 first and pass. Interesting. Sam, I didn't know that. That's interesting. You can actually take the LPIC 2 exam and pass, but you don't get the certification unless you complete LPIC 1. That's fascinating. So if you don't care about getting the certification, the letters behind your name, I guess you could actually take LPIC 2 without taking LPIC 1. That's fascinating though. Yeah, and that might just be down to they want your money, for doing both LPIC 1 exams. Yeah. Got my CCNA, now I'm gonna get Linux Plus. What kind of jobs could I get with those certs knowledge? I don't know. I think a year or two ago I might have had a much better take. A lot of companies were hiring, but I mean, in the brief time when I was unemployed, I was looking, and the job market was not great. So I'm not sure what is available right now and what companies are hiring for. I mean, having a CCNA and getting Linux Plus, those are really good basis. Those are good to have, and I think valuable for lots of companies. But anyway, yeah. I don't have a good answer for what type of places are even hiring right now, and it was scary when I looked. So if you're in the position of looking for a job, I hope things get a little better. Angel, let's see. What would you say about the future of AI? And do you think it will replace humans in Linux administration or assist performance and automation of tasks? I mean, I could guess the future. I think that we're going to continue to see more and more automation, particularly with the cloud as it abstracts away hardware and stuff. I think we're still going to need people to do things. I think it's funny. I think some of the shift is going to go from people working on, apps and programs and things to people working on AI integration into those. So the job is just going to shift to, uh, you know, hooking into an AI's API to do some of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. But I don't know. I don't want to guess because, if I was really good at guessing, I'd probably be wealthy. But anyway, hold on. Let me go back to the chat because I'm behind now. It could still pop up there. Or my T thing still stayed up there. Good. Okay. Conversely, AI. Hey, let's see. If I pop this up, that'll make that go away. So that's fine. If anybody wants my tea, let me know. Hey, I found you on the Linux Plus playlist. Excellent job. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And yeah, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but I am actually working on the next one. I'm going to integrate some older video. Like this is proof. Here's the next slide for section 3.1. I really am working on it to get that out. I'm going to include just some video clips from my Bash scripting course into this next section because a lot of it is just that same thing. And I worked really hard on that Bash course, and it seems silly to just redo the exact same thing and try to, do as good of a job. So I'm going to actually, I'll reference it, but, like say, hey, and a year ago, Sean, we'll talk about this. And then fade into, me teaching it there. Just clips though. And then I'll have references to the bigger section. But yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. And, yeah, really am getting back to it. I will finish. It will be done. It's kind of like the I missed this one. I don't even know what CISSP is. I've heard the term a lot. I think you might have mentioned it before, and I had to ask too. 5 years experience in a security role, you can't use it. Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. You can pass the exam, but without 5 years of experience in a security role, how is that determined? Is it like a human being that goes through it? Because you could be like, well, I've run security on my home lab for 5 years. So you pass the exam, and that's interesting. I wonder how that is. How that's policed. I'm going to be a programmer, work in cybersecurity. I'm taking Linux Plus because I like it, and I think it's worth Linux as well. Yeah, that's cool. I love Linux. I've always liked Linux, and I don't use Linux for everything, but I've never regretted spending so much of my career learning Linux and the nuances of it and stuff. It's served me well. So yeah, plus I just really enjoy it. Yeah, DevOps and cloud is the way to go. Yeah. And hey, at CBT Nuggets, I'm teaching cloud stuff now. But yeah, you do need to development. It's tough to exist in the world right now without having at least some concept of development skills, because DevOps and again, cloud programming via API stuff is really becoming the way that things are done. So you really kind of need to know some of that, even if you're functioning as a system administrator. A lot of those system administrator roles, even using something as system administrator friendly as Ansible, still programmatic, so yeah. Dearham, I'm doing well. Just so you know, I appreciate you. I do. And I don't have a good answer for this. And one of the sad things is, at this point, it's like, which war? Because there's two major wars going on right now, and my opinion on, it hasn't changed my opinion on things. I certainly don't have a clean answer for any of it. I just try to continue to be me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. On the subject of The subject of jobs. I have a team interview next week. Do you know if Linux works with Teams? I don't know. I've never used Microsoft Teams at all. My daughter, her job, they use Microsoft Teams, but she has a Mac. She doesn't use Linux. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine that some portions of it work in a web browser. I would guess. I mean, Office 365 works on Linux in a web browser. It's not quite the native experience, but I don't know. I'd be curious what you find, samples and tests, when it comes to doing it, because I don't even have an account anywhere to test it with. So just waiting for people to get all their data in the cloud and services, and the price will double overnight. So it's funny, Bytemoose, one of the trainers, I think Knox, shared in our trainer channel at work that a company had removed all of their cloud services from AWS, and they actually created an on-prem data center solution because the particular things they were doing in the cloud were costing so much money that even with the overhead of running their own on-prem system, it saved them like significant money. But I think those use cases are still fairly small. For the most part, cloud services do end up saving companies significant money because you don't have that big CapEx, capital expenditure from the word go. So, but it is interesting. It's not the solution for every problem. And yeah. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Thank you, Bytemoose. Has a debit and RPM package now, so even native tools. So I'm guessing that, yes, I'm guessing it will work. That's actually really cool. I did not know that. I don't have anywhere to even test it, so I can't even give you a good personal experience there. But that's cool. Let's see. Any take on ad blockers? I mean, so I've used a lot of ad blockers in my day. I don't necessarily even care if ads exist. The only time that I really want to block ads is when they are obtrusive and they get in your way. Because I mean, I have been a creator in a lot of different situations. I mean, I was a staff writer at Linux Journal, so in print and then digital and then online, and all of those things are ad revenue based. Working at Twit TV, here on YouTube, all of the income comes from ads. So, I want ads to be successful. The only thing is when ad blockers or when ads become so intrusive that you cannot even appreciate the experience of a web page without 1,000 pop-ups telling you that your computer is infected with stuff. And yeah, sometimes those are questionable sites. Like if I'm looking for a particular episode from a television show, sometimes I end up on like torrent sites or something that like, oh, this is not cool. This is too many, this is just nothing but ads. So yeah, ad blockers in those cases make sense. But in general, I like how YouTube handles the ability to get rid of ads if you pay for YouTube Premium, right? That's probably one of my most valuable subscriptions is YouTube Premium because I don't have any ads on YouTube. But then if, I couldn't afford to pay for that, I could still get the full YouTube experience by letting ads play and then click skip ad or whatever when I can. So yeah, I'm generally don't like ads, but I'm pro ad revenue. So it's a weird place to be. I don't know. Keep them unoffensive and I'll be happy. Is there some sort of vetting process and you need someone? Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, me? Nobody's going to vouch for me, but no, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about for the CISSP thing. Okay. That's interesting. Some sort of vetting process and someone vouch for you. That's fascinating to me. Nonetheless, yeah. Oh, Scott, congratulations. Finished first project in your Rust course. That is cool. Yeah, Rust is still, I mean, every time it comes up, I'm still like, yeah, that's a challenge. So that's awesome. Courtney knows I'm playing with Linux a bit. Installed Mint on one of my older devices. That's cool. Yeah, a lot of people really like Mint. I I have nothing against Mint. I just tend to use Ubuntu Mate for just because I like Ubuntu. I like Debian-based things. Mint could be pure straight up Debian, but I'm assuming it's like the Mint that is like I think Mint is still an Ubuntu derivative, right? With its own like Cinnamon desktop, I think. And it's been a while since I tried Mint, but yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I think like an older device is a great way to play with Linux, that or a virtual machine, but a great way to play with it and get used to it, because a lot of the things I do on a daily basis can do fine with a Linux GUI desktop. Some things I can't, but most things I can. Yeah, Mason, I know. Keep war out of tech. It's part of the human experience, unfortunately. So, I mean, I appreciate the bringing it up, and I appreciate getting other people's pulse on stuff, but I don't want it to, turn political. So yeah, it's a tight situation. Again, this tends to be a pretty kind group, so I didn't want to ignore the comment. Linux can work with Teams, web-based version 2. Okay. Yeah, a lot of wars going on, unfortunately. Microsoft Teams desktop client. Oh, hold on. This will be retired. Oh, of course. Wait, using the new, probably the web-based one? I don't know where this sentence was going to go, but that is unfortunate. Oh, the rest of the sentence. Progressive web app. Okay. So yeah, web-based thing. Okay, cool. I guess. Okay, that I didn't realize that, but that is kind of funny. Yeah. Yeah, I think they did something new. Like YouTube changed something about ad blockers. I guess ad blockers used to be able to block the ads in YouTube things, but now in videos, and now it doesn't anymore. I don't know. Honestly, I've never tried to use ad blocking on YouTube. I pay for YouTube Premium, and I'd get rid of Netflix before I got rid of YouTube Premium. I just really, really enjoy YouTube Premium. Let's see. I appreciate that. No, I mean, if you read my green hair blog post, that's the most I've done in a long time. There's stuff on my website though, brainofsean.com. In the past, I've written more stuff. No, I don't even have time to get Linux Plus done. That's where I got to focus on that right now. It's weird being an empty nester though. All my kids are adults and grown up and moved out now. That is weird. I appreciate that though. The compliment on my writing. Mint is it still Debian-based version called LMDE? Yeah, I couldn't remember if the standard Mint was still Ubuntu based. I know that they did have a full up Debian based version. Is that the LMDE one? Okay. Yeah. So thoughts on Wayland? Here's an interesting topic. Yeah, I think Wayland is a great idea. The problem is X11 or X86 or whatever you want to call X Windows in general. It's so deeply ingrained in so many things that outright switching to Wayland has proven to be challenging, right? I mean, I don't remember. I had a distribution. Maybe is it Ubuntu 2204? Does that default to Wayland? I don't even think it does. But I've tried a few that are using Wayland as their X Windows environment or windowing environment. I don't even know if it's considered X Windows at that point. And I like the idea. I had to teach the split. I don't know if it was for Linux Plus that I had to do that, but the difference between Wayland and how their stuff works versus X11, it was difficult to understand, much less teach in a way that people could understand it. I don't know. I think it's kind of inevitable that it's going to happen. And I do understand why the switch to Wayland is important and why it will be good. But yeah, it's just proving to be so difficult. And I think there's an issue with NVIDIA drivers. That might have been a couple of years ago, but not using Wayland terribly well. I don't know. I guess I don't have any good thoughts about it or any helpful thoughts. Scott is currently on Wayland. That's interesting. Yeah. So Wayland is, yes. So X11 or X Free 86 or whatever the actual name for the X Windows environment has been around forever. I mean, it's been around forever. And that is the GUI on top of the Linux kernel is the X Windows environment. Wayland is going to replace that, but it's had a difficult time becoming stable in lots of environments, where it'll work, and it has to work so hard to be backwards compatible because everything has been written for X11 forever, and the switchover has been challenging. Oh yeah, and Samples and Tests here says that Wayland would crash several programs, including Shotcut, to switch back to X11. Yeah, and then like there was a little while where like the NVIDIA drivers were supporting like the proprietary NVIDIA drivers, not Nuevo or whatever the open source one is. Oh, that's the thing too. NVIDIA has like their open source and then their not open source drivers that they release, not the Nuevo, but the actual NVIDIA stuff. And I had horrible luck with their open source one, but their proprietary one, which I don't even know what the difference is between them, it would work fine. But then they said that it supported Wayland, but then they had to like take it back and say, no, it's still beta or something. I don't even know. It's complicated and it's been going for years, but I do think it's going to happen. I mean, System D happened, right? System D replaced pretty much everything else in Linux. And so they did that with just masterful backwards compatibility, in my opinion, to the point of absurdity in some regards. I mean, like now, System D handles file system mounting, but you can still put stuff in FS tab, and somehow System D usually magically does it. I've been running Debian Bookworm on one of my computers though, and it doesn't handle the file system like FS tab, etc. FS tab, it doesn't do it quite right for some reason, or does some weirdities. I don't know. It's weird. So built-in fallback. I mean, I don't even know what that would mean by fallback to X11, other than most systems come with the ability to use X11 instead of Wayland. But like again, it's been crashy. It's not been perfectly backwards compatible. So therefore, unless each program is written specifically with Wayland in mind, sometimes it's buggy and doesn't work terribly well. So yeah, it's tough. And yeah, I mean, that's true, right? I mean, just because something is newer doesn't mean it's better. I think that Wayland has a lot going for it as far as, design stuff, security stuff, all that thing. But again, it's such a difficult transition from X Windows or X11. Again, I don't even know what to call the old X11, but to a newer thing. And sometimes trying to be backwards compatible almost makes it worse, right? It's almost like just rip off the Band-Aid. If you're running a program that doesn't work on Wayland, well, either you have to run X Windows or you have to, use a different program or something. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes that backwards compatibility thing causes more issues than it solves because it gives, there's less incentive to update to the new way of doing things. Yeah, Angel, I agree with that. And the thing is, though, I think this was true 5 years ago too. So I'm not sure what the exact path forward looks like, because it's been a great idea for a long time, and I think it's usable in a lot of cases now, at least. But yeah, it's still a rough transitional time. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, are you talking about the Microsoft Teams things here, I assume? About like retiring. That makes sense. It makes sense to me that they would just make a progressive web app for it, because if it works really well as a progressive web app, hey, I mean, right now I'm streaming via web app. So it certainly makes sense to put that development in a place that it's going to work across platforms. So it's so funny. I've never even seen Teams in use. I should look over my daughter's shoulder at some point, because I think Teams replaces like Slack, and I think it has built-in video stuff. I mean, Slack does too, but it's kind of like Microsoft's answer to the Google Workspace stuff, right? I don't know. Again, I've never seen it. I guess we're running out of time. Oh yeah. That's true. IP version 6, perfect example, of this. IP version 6 is better in just about every way functionally. We're not going to run out of addresses. It would be easy if everyone just used IP version 6. There would be so many fewer issues. Funny, we'd have to be more careful with firewalls. I think we depend on NAT for a lot of our security. And I mean, NAT by design, sure, it protects you in a way. But if we used IP version 6 and everything actually had an IP address, we'd have to rely on those firewalls to actually block traffic instead of not opening traffic like we do for NAT stuff, So that's it's interesting. We've done so much though to make our limited IP version 4 addresses just work, right? We've made it too good. You can have double and triple NAT in your house and everything just works fine. And so what's the motivation, right? There's very little motivation if everything just works fine. So anyway, the hour went. It always does. I see like Tom, whose name I can never remember, but every week I can't remember his name. He does like 2.5 hours of live streaming. I have to admit, I don't watch the live streams. He always does them on days where I can't. I think like Thursday or something. But yeah, I think keeping it to an hour is good though. It keeps me succinct, and I am going to try to actually make a video for tomorrow. We'll see as soon as we're done here. I'm going to try to record this video and take chunks and pieces from my Bash course and start making some Linux Plus videos. It'll be nice to get that out. That's pretty much every other comment on YouTube is, when are you going to get that done, Sean? And I'm like, I promise I'm going to do it. I promise. I forgot about my fun little thing there. Or I can change my voice and do sound effects. Tom Lawrence. Yes, every week I forget his last name. I don't know why. Anyway. Hold on. What did I miss? Some stuff here. Wayland built-in X11 instance for unsupported. Maybe. I mean, that could be, but then, there has to be a mechanism, right, for detecting and like transferring it over. So, if that part of it doesn't work, or if the application isn't compatible with however they, migrate it from one to another, I could see that crashing. So, yeah, it's just like it becomes this Rube Goldberg, I think it's Goldberg, machine of, trying to make everything happy, where it just doesn't work. Let's see. And yeah, that's the thing. Once I came out with NAT and really good NAT. I mean, NAT, I don't know if you remember, you used to have to do some crazy things to get masquerading working at all. I mean, you had to do a lot of rule changes, but it's so ubiquitous now that, I mean, it just works fine. Anything can do NAT stuff without hardly any noticeable downside. And you even get that advantage of things being closed kind of by default. Again, it's not the same as a firewall, but not having a live IP does protect you from some things. So anyway, that's true. I did see that. It scrolled by. I don't know who said it. Oh, Angel. Yeah. So I haven't heard about wine either. I've never gotten anything to work well in wine. Has anybody gotten anything to work well in wine? There was I think it's still around, the Crossover Office. I'm pretty sure Crossover Office still uses wine technology. And at one point, I played a couple of games using Crossover Office back in the day when I was at Linux Journal. We're like reviewing things. Crossover Office sent us a few like licenses or something so that I could review it, and it worked okay. But I mean, it was still clunky, and I've never gotten wine to do anything really great or really impressive. But yeah. Anyway, gosh, we're about out of time. Very small programs. I could see that. I never really had anything. I never really had anything that I needed. The only thing I ever wish I really could have done was it was actually not on Windows. It was on OS 10. It was messages. But nowadays, now I can use Beeper, which is a Matrix thing. Is anybody familiar with Beeper? I have a invite code if anybody wants to try Beeper. It basically is a really nice front end to a Matrix server with bridges to all sorts of different chat things, including iMessage. If you're an Apple user and you want to like send, be a Blue Bubble friend on your Linux desktop or on your Android phone even, it's pretty slick. Here, that's the last thing I'll do. I know we're out of time here, but I will post my my code if anybody wants it. There's no limits to how many I can do. So let me copy that. Here, I'll put this in there. Yeah, if anybody wants to try Beeper, there we go. Reefer Beeper. It's cool. I'm a huge Beeper fan. Once they go paid, I'm gonna definitely get their pro subscription. Everything that they have now is free though, so there's no reason not to try it and play with it. It does a really nice job, and it's very often updated. So anyway, we're out of time. Hey everybody, thank you for joining. Thanks for talking about Linux stuff and some wine stuff and tea stuff, and one of those was a drink and one was not. Yeah, I am gonna hang up. I'm gonna go use the bathroom, and then I'm gonna hopefully record some Linux Plus stuff, copy and paste some older video footage in there to make it a worthwhile endeavor. So have a great day. Remember to learn everything, do what you love, and most importantly, be kind. Thanks again, everyone. And now I find the end stream button and end the stream right now.